Who would have thought going into 2022, the first real post-pandemic summer movie season, that the biggest movie of the summer and year would be a movie starring Tom Cruise, a sequel to a film that came out the year I graduated high school. A film without a superhero from Marvel,
Smash,
or DC, or a film in which none of its actors are blue, 10 feet tall, with bones made of naturally occurring carbon fiber.
They are very hard to kill.
On Saturday, August the 20th, 2022, Top Gun Maverick flew by Marvel's Avengers: Infinity War and became the 6th highest grossing movie in domestic box office history, according to Variety, and it's not over yet. At $678 million stateside, Top Gun Maverick is $24 million away from overtaking Black Panther as the 5th highest grossing movie ever in domestic box office history. And as of Sunday, August the 21st, 2022, Top Gun Maverick moved past Marvel's Avengers: Age of Ultron to become the 12th biggest film of all time with $1.9 billion. And all of this without any help from the biggest box office market in the world, China, which overtook the US as the world's biggest movie market in 2022, refused to distribute Top Gun Maverick. Now put this into perspective when you think about where the film would be if an extra 1.5 billion people could see it, or if Paramount and Skydance had have taken the flags of China's arch enemies, Japan and Taiwan, off of Tom Cruise's bomber jacket, which they did for the 2019 trailer, but later put back on the jacket after Chinese social media giant Tencent pulled out of the film as an investor. And when was the last time you heard Quentin Tarantino showering love on a mainstream movie? On a Cinema Blend podcast, he called Maverick, and I quote, true cinematic spectacle, going on to say that he fucking loves Top Gun Maverick.
That's all you had to say.
At this point, I don't think anyone who's seen Maverick can deny that it is the best summer film this year and the best summer film in a long time. And like I started this review, who would have thought that a Tom Cruise movie would dominate a year sandwiched between Marvel tentpoles Doctor Strange and Thor? But before I offer my theory on why America and the world loves this film, I'd like to offer a quick summary of Top Gun Maverick for those who have not seen it yet. But first, if you are new to the channel, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to the Godfather of Cinema, movie reviews and more. Give this movie review a thumbs up, leave a comment, and hit the bell notification for new videos that I'll be putting out. In Joseph Kosinski's film Top Gun Maverick, the enemy is who knows, being that the enemy is only described as a rogue state enriching uranium. The film opens with Pete Need for Speed Mitchell, now a Navy test pilot, after graduating from Top Gun 30 years ago, doing an unauthorized test flight of a prototype supersonic jet, wrecking it and walking away without a scratch. Typical Pete Mitchell. After this stunt, reminiscent to a nearly identical scene in the original film, he's reassigned to Naval Air Station North Island, or NAS North Island, to train a group of young fighter pilots. A much more mature and seasoned Maverick, grooming young fighter pilots who are as raw as he was 30 years ago at Top Gun. One of the pilots happens to be the son of his late best friend Goose. Rooster blames Maverick for his father's death and for holding him back from being a fighter pilot. But what Rooster doesn't know is that his late mother made Maverick promise her to not let him become a jet pilot like his father. There is also a subplot pitting human jet fighters against autonomous jet fighters, and there is also a subplot reuniting Maverick with a bar owner named Penny, who happens to be an old flame of his in the backstory of the first film. Maverick is almost a carbon copy of the original. From Pete Mitchell's insubordination and reassignment at the beginning,
You've been called back to Top Gun.
the bar karaoke scene with the same song as the original film, there's also a team sports scene on the beach, only this time it's football instead of volleyball, with no less testosterone. There's a huge action scene as well as catharsis and reconciliation at the end of the film. On every frame, it is obvious that Maverick is less a sequel than an homage to the original Top Gun and its late director Tony Scott, which I thought was great. Maverick plays a different role in this film. The opening scene of the movie is clear about the fact that he's still, well, Maverick. But in this film, he is a teacher willing to step back and allow youth to share the spotlight. As to why Top Gun Maverick is so successful, say what you want about Tom Cruise, this dude has arguably the most impressive resume of any actor working today. How many actors can say that they've worked for as many Hall of Fame directors? Oliver Stone, Martin Scorsese, Steven Spielberg, Michael Mann, Francis Ford Coppola, Tony Scott, Barry Levinson, Rob Reiner, Brian De Palma, Paul Thomas Anderson, John Woo, Doug Liman, and as Jack Nicholson calls him, the man himself, Stanley Kubrick in Eyes Wide Shut. And how many actors are there who've been around making films since the 80s who are as or more relevant in 2022 than they were in their heyday? And how many actors can you name who've reinvented themselves on screen the way Cruise has? Back in the day when Arnold Schwarzenegger,
I'll be back,
and Sylvester were the only names when it came to action movies, Cruise was doing films like Risky Business and All the Right Moves. Yeah, he did have a hiccup early in his career with Top Gun in Days of Thunder in 1990, but after that, nothing for action kings Arnold and Sly to lose any sleep over. After the second installment of Mission Impossible is when you start to see another side of Cruise peeking out. Then came surprises like The Last Samurai, Collateral, then Valkyrie, the Mission Impossible sequels, Minority Report, War of the Worlds, Jack Reacher, Edge of Tomorrow. All of this is Arnold and Sylvester's careers as action stars had long since ended. Then Cruise took it to the next level when word got out that he insisted on doing most, if not all, of the insane, death-defying stunts in his films himself. I saw Maverick the second day it opened, and I can only speak for myself when I say that what got me so excited to see this film is fatigue. Refreshing to see a good old-fashioned action film where the actor and not his avatar is center stage. And as I pointed out, most of what you see on the screen when it comes to Tom Cruise is real. Another reason I believe TGM is so successful is that it harkens back to the 80s when the first Top Gun came out, when people went to the theater just to have a good time. In addition to its old school Tony Scott cinematography, it has virtually the same soundtrack from the original film. Another thing I really appreciate about Maverick is the 2-hour running time. It doesn't overstay its welcome and leaves you wanting more. The film has the same gung-ho vibe of the films from the 80s and 90s. Films that weren't self-conscious and needed to apologize for simply being what they were. Maverick's just a fun film that doesn't take itself seriously. Like I said, if you haven't seen Maverick yet, you should see it before it's pulled completely out of the theaters, which is the best way to see it, even though I prefer seeing films from the comfort of my lazy boy. So let me know what you think about TGM in the comments below. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my review, and be sure to subscribe to the Godfather of Cinema for more movie reviews. Thanks.